Hey, it's Janelle Waz and welcome to a Star Wars video. What? I can like Star Wars too. In fact, I grew up in a household that enjoyed both Star Trek and Star Wars. So even though I am very much a Trekkie, I also have a fondness for Star Wars. It's like you can say I enjoy good sci-fi or something. I have some very early memories of watching episode 4 with my brother, even before the prequels came out. Which is probably why when I think of Obi-Wan Kenobi, I tend to think of Sir Alec Guinness rather than Ewan McGregor. Though don't get me wrong, Ewan McGregor was good as Obi-Wan in the prequels.
Hello there. Hello there.
Ever since I was a little kid, I always liked Luke Skywalker, though maybe I couldn't always put into words why beyond, he's a good guy so I like the good guy. But as an adult and YouTube commentator, I can say that I like Luke's overall goodness. Sure, he makes mistakes, heck, he's even tempted by the dark side, but at his core, he's a decent human being and wants to do the right thing. So of course, when I go on the internet and see memes that put Luke in a bad light, it annoys me.
But also annoys us.
There are two memes in particular that kinda get under my skin, and I feel like talking about it, so here we are. We're stepping into a larger world as a Trekkie defends Luke Skywalker against the memes.
You've taken your first step into a larger world.
And it's totally not lost on me that I'm probably overanalyzing memes that are really only supposed to be looked at for about 5 seconds for a quick laugh. But I'm doing it anyways. This is YouTube after all. Okay, so here's the first meme I'm talking about. When your home planet exploded a few hours ago, but a man you just met is feeling sad about his martial arts mentor. This, of course, is in reference to Leia's homeworld Alderaan being destroyed by the Death Star, and the death of Ben Kenobi. It's quite a bit to unpack here. First, let's establish who Ben Kenobi is to Luke. First of all, he isn't just a strange guy that randomly saved Luke in the middle of the desert. They both, at the very least, knew of each other. Luke recognized him when he regained consciousness after the Sand People attack, and Ben knows him and that he's become a pretty good pilot. They're not complete strangers. That's not to say Ben was babysitting Luke all the time growing up, because Uncle Owen, who raised Luke, was not a fan of old Ben.
That wizard's just a crazy old man.
But at the very least, they knew of each other's existence. There's not a whole lot of information in A New Hope about how well they know each other, and to be honest, I'm not going to get into the new Obi-Wan show because I haven't seen it. I'm just sticking with A New Hope for right now, and frankly, there's enough information in A New Hope to extrapolate this information. Here's another thing to consider. Since there's not a whole lot of screen time for Uncle Owen in A New Hope, we don't know how much he told Luke about his father, Anakin. If anything, he wanted to keep Luke from following in his father's footsteps, which at the time Luke thought was a navigator on a spice freighter.
You knew my father?
I told you to forget it.
Luke, however, talks to Ben and learns that Ben was his father's good friend. In fact, they fought in the Clone Wars together. A good friend and a war buddy. Here's a guy that could tell Luke all about his father and answer those questions he has about his family. Heck, Luke already had a couple of revelations in that one scene at Ben's house. His father wasn't a mere navigator on a spice freighter. He was a war hero and a Jedi! A Jedi! Ultimately, Ben serves as a connection to Luke's father, a connection Luke didn't even realize was available to him. We could probably talk about that was the main reason why Uncle Owen didn't want Luke hanging around Ben, but that's a topic for a different video.
That wizard's just a crazy old man.
Even though the majority of the time Ben and Luke spent together takes place during episode 4, it was enough to establish a decently strong connection between them. Now that we've established the importance of Ben to Luke, let's talk about how his death affected Luke. Here we have Luke, finally discovering a connection to his father, finally finding out about his father's past, although not completely as we find out in the next movie. And having an opportunity to follow in his father's footsteps as a Jedi. Heck, he even gets to be trained by his dad's friend. He is really taking his first steps into a larger world and can get answers about his family. But then to see the man who killed his father, at least according to Luke's knowledge at the time, also kill that connection to his father, that's a blow Luke wasn't prepared for. After all, he's still young, probably thinking of a future of Ben training him and discovering who his father was. This isn't just the death of a martial arts mentor, which I'll allow the metaphor since there are a lot of similar tropes between martial arts movies and Star Wars. It's the death of the only connection Luke had to his father. Not to mention that Luke left his home to follow Ben after the deaths of Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru at the hands of stormtroopers, saying there was nothing on Tatooine for him anymore. Where is he to go now? What is he supposed to do? The kid lost his entire world. Maybe not in the literal sense that Leia did, but everything that his life was and could have been is gone. That's a pretty big loss. Of course, I don't say any of this to diminish Leia's loss. In fact, Leia and Luke are in similar situations, although to different extents. Luke lost his entire world figuratively, but Leia's entire world was literally blown up. Her home, her father and friends on Alderaan, everything. Gone. The only thing she had going for her that Luke didn't have at the time was a place to go. She was involved in the Rebel Alliance and an important figure in it, so she would be taken care of no matter what. Luke didn't have that certainty, but nevertheless he was taken care of. He joined up with the rebels and had something to work towards. There's also a conversation to be had about Leia never mourning for her homeworld, but Leia, being the leader that she was, says in the movie,
"We have no time for sorrows, Commander."
I think the point that gets under my skin with this meme is that it attempts to emphasize Leia's loss by lessening Luke's. Almost like saying, why should Luke feel sad about a guy he just met when Leia's entire planet blew up? It's an overgeneralization and overlooks the connection Luke had with Ben Kenobi in order to prop up Leia. Don't get me wrong, I like Leia a lot, probably as much as Luke. But Leia's story and character arc can stand on its own without dragging down Luke's. Okay, enough of that meme. Let's move on to the next one. At the age of 19, Padme Amidala was queen of a planet and already saved her people from total crisis. At the age of 19, Anakin Skywalker was married and a general in a galaxy-wide war and was considered to be one of the most powerful Jedi in history. At the age of 19, Leia Organa was a senator in the Imperial Senate as well as a leader and spy for the rebellion. At the age of 19, Luke was making vroom vroom noises with his toy planes. Okay. This meme brings in the prequel trilogy and probably the Clone Wars show as well. Admittedly, I'm not the biggest fan of the prequels, but I'm going to address them anyways. Yes, Padme was young when she became Queen of Naboo. Yes, Anakin had a wife and already made a name for himself in the Clone Wars and among the Jedi. Yes, Leia was involved in politics at a young age and already found herself working for the Rebel Alliance to bring down the Empire. I'm not debating any of that, it's established in the movies. But you know what all three of them didn't have? A normal childhood. Heck, Padme herself admitted that she didn't think she was old enough or ready at 14 to become a queen. Anakin left his mom at 9 years old to train as a Jedi. Leia was already entrenched in politics at 19, so she had to be in the system for a while so that could happen. What was Luke doing? Being a 19-year-old kid. Everyone makes fun of him for whining about wanting to go to Tashi Station to pick up power converters, which, to be honest, never really bothered me all that much.
But I was going into Tashi Station to pick up some power converters.
But isn't that what teenagers do? They whine a little bit. That's normal. And you know what? He also grew up in a normal household. Sure, it was his aunt and uncle raising him and not his parents, but they served as parental figures, providing a stable home and place for Luke to grow up. He was helping his aunt and uncle around the house, around the farm. He had friends. Friends that were moving on, which explains some of his frustrations early in the movie. Yeah, it wasn't the most exciting childhood, but it was a normal childhood. And you know what? That's something that makes him relatable to most audiences. He wasn't a political genius like his mother or sister. Heck, he didn't even know he was force sensitive like his father. He was a kid you probably went to school with. I know the expanded universe is no longer considered canon, and they do some extrapolating that sometimes gets retconned, so take it for what you will. But the expanded universe does provide some insights into Luke's upbringing that I think are important to this conversation. In the first book of the Corellian trilogy, Ambush at Corellia, Leia contemplates hers, Han's, and Luke's separate childhoods. Leia, as the daughter of a senator, was brought up in the public eye, spending most of her childhood with nannies and not seeing her father all that much. And even that childhood was short because by entering politics, her childhood ended even faster, and that wasn't something she wanted for her kids. And even though Luke's upbringing had its downsides, it's still the closest thing to a normal childhood among the three of them. In the Timothy Zahn novel Survivor's Quest, even Mara Jade, Luke's wife, acknowledged the importance of Luke's normal childhood. That it was because he grew up as a farm boy that his inner goodness, that ability to see the good in everyone, that anyone could be redeemed, could withstand all that life threw at him. Timothy Zahn writes, others might sneer at that, or use his farming background as an insult, like in memes. But for her, the title was an acknowledgement of his moral high ground, a large part of what she loved and admired most about her husband. And at the end of the day, she slept better for knowing that even their deadliest opponents had been given every chance they could possibly hope to receive. Luke wasn't doing anything spectacular at age 19 like his parents and sister, but that's okay. It's because of his upbringing as it was that we had a character who could resist the dark side, who could see the goodness that was Anakin Skywalker in Darth Vader, and managed to redeem his father in the end. And that is one heck of an accomplishment for anyone at any age.
I'll not leave you here. I've got to save you.
You're ready.
But sure, vroom vroom noises with his planes. And that's my defense of Luke Skywalker against the memes. But now what do you think? Do you agree with my points defending Luke, or are there some weaker points in my analysis? Do you think I took a couple of memes a little too seriously, or did I provide some insights into the character of Luke Skywalker? Please, leave a comment below and discuss. As always, thanks for tuning in to another video. If you like what you see, why not give my video a like and subscribe to my channel? Tell your friends! Until next time...
Luke, we're gonna have company!